Let's talk. What are we talking about today?
So first of all, let's start with this is an impromptu
Events
Real Talk. This one was not scheduled. We were supposed to have a guest on our next one.
We still are.
That'll be the next one. This one is, what was the last episode? Episode 6?
I don't know. I don't keep up with
7?
them. That's what Jamie's for.
Which one? 6, 7, 6, 5, 2, 3?
Yeah, I know. He did 5, she did 1, she did 4.
So
I don't know what these add together. Is this 8?
We're going to consider this
She's going to fall out of her chair.
We're going to consider this episode 6.5.
Tell Jamie she can't move too far. She's going to hit the camera. Shh. She's going to lose it. What is she, 30 seconds in? She's already going to get disinvited.
Episode 6.5.
I can't focus.
Clearly.
Well, look at this.
Stop looking at her.
When I look at the camera, it's in the corner.
Don't
of my
look
eye.
at the camera. Look at me.
Okay.
Look
fine.
at me.
Look at me.
Look into my eyes.
You Cameron.
I am
you
the
and
captain
Cameron.
now.
Captain.
It's the movie.
What movie?
Shit, the one about the pirates. They take over the boat.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
No.
That's a pirate movie.
Somalian pirates. Okay, we'll put the meme in. Look into my eyes. I am the captain now.
I feel like this is Cameron.
Yeah, he does.
I'm with Cameron. Well, yeah. Where does he get it from? No idea.
Watching movies.
No responsibility.
Episode
whatsoever.
6.5.
Episode whatever number they showed us.
6.5.
Okay.
We're talking about contact tracing.
Contact tracing, yes.
So, why did you decide?
I had an epiphany. That's why.
Is it an epiphany, or did you just get pissed off?
Well, I had a thought, and us blondes don't have that many thoughts. Made the bubble here. The thought bubble.
I'm not going to tell you you're wrong.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, it changes from color to color, so we really don't know if I'm blonde or not. At this moment, I'm blonde, so I'm going to act blonde.
Do we need to call your mom?
No.
Okay.
We don't need to call my mom. She already told me I look like George Washington.
So how did you come to this conclusion? Or this, not conclusion.
Thought. Bubble. Light bulb, maybe? Idea. We'll find the right word.
We'll link it down below.
Okay, so we were driving to Keegan's soccer game on Saturday.
You and Keegan were both driving?
No, I was driving.
Okay.
Okay, fine, rude. I was driving. Tanner was sitting in the front seat, so you know that's always fun. Because at the end of my question, he was
He
like,
usually sits in the trunk? Like what?
well, no, because he has comments. I could put him in the trunk. He'd have lots of space in this car. Room for activities.
It's not that kind of show.
So, well, I started thinking about our conversation about bars reopening. And you mentioned the whole, like, sitting outside thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I started thinking, I don't know why, I started thinking about, at 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, about all the training I've done, and they keep talking about duty of care. Okay? And part of the duty of care, you want me to define it?
Yes.
Okay.
What is the duty of care?
Duty of care. Okay, so I'll give you the non-legal term because it's long and confusing. But specifically for events, it is you as a planner, organizer, host, whoever's, putting on the event is responsible for those at your meeting and for taking reasonable steps to keep them safe in the event of any disaster. Disaster, I feel like, is used loosely because now we're considering pandemic and, COVID, all that is a disaster. So, you're supposed to take the necessary steps in your duty of care plan that helps keep your attendees safe. Patrons, whatever you want to call them.
Guests.
Sure. Well, they're paying, so are they really a guest? You don't pay when you go to a wedding.
Guest. Sorry.
Wait, really? Okay,
I
let's
mean,
sing out
some
the song.
people do.
They pay to go. Well, okay, I guess if you're going to a hotel, but not actually to pay to go in the door to watch a wedding.
So was that 3 minutes? Can we hit the wedding mark?
Oh, no, it was like 20 seconds in.
No, there's some. I've read some horror stories and stuff like that where like the bride wants you to pay to like compensate for the meal that's provided. Like there's a lot of horror stories out there about it.
Then don't invite me to your wedding.
So, well,
Save
like
your
the
money.
movies, like I'll bring my own snacks.
Yeah. Do destination wedding.
Okay.
All right, so I started thinking about this and all of that, and then I started thinking about all this talk about contact tracing. How they were going to do it, if they were going to do it, who was going to do it. So you mentioned the other day, in the very beginning, like what, May? They had talked about doing contact tracing.
March.
Was it that early? I thought it was
It was
later.
like right on.
Okay.
Well, April maybe, because it was like the end of March when this all started.
Yeah, okay. So that they talked about doing it, but nothing ever happened with it. Mm-hmm. So instead we just, shut everything down.
Yeah.
So then I started thinking, okay, well, what are these people doing now that you're allowed to sit outside? There's no social distancing outside required, right? but you still social distance inside the restaurant. And then bars, like you said, you take your mask off, your food, it's not contaminated, you can still eat and COVID doesn't touch you, all that kind of fun stuff. So I started wondering, okay, so if we're being asked to do this when you're planning an event to keep your guest attendees safe, what are we doing in the general public? Are we doing anything? And if we are doing anything, how is it going? If we aren't doing anything, why? And I'm just curious about the whole like mentality of, you know, why some states are doing it and some are not. And then as we talked, the all or nothing type idea. So,
switch question.
My question for you, I know you always do this shit to me. Make the points. All right, so you sent me a couple things yesterday that I thought was kind of funny. The video you sent me was for, I think it was in DC.
There were a couple.
Yeah, but the one you sent me where there's actually the video. And the beginning of the video of the news apparently went to this restaurant. I think it's a Mexican restaurant. And the girl was at the front.
That was in Houston.
Huh?
That one in Houston one?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I guess it could. I think it was New York.
Okay.
Yeah, so they walked in, and as soon as you walk in, they check your ID. What they're checking for is to see if you're from out of state.
Because New York is a hub,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
For international travel.
So, yes, I get that. But on the flip side of it, there are lots of people who live in states who don't change their residence. College kids, most of them don't change their residence or get a new ID just because they go to college for a few years. So that, to me, I don't feel like helps you much. I mean, I guess you could ask, when's the last time you traveled home, if you're going to ask the question. And then they're quoted saying, when a customer walks in, we greet them and we just require an ID to see if it's out of state. If it is any of the quarantine states, we do ask if they're supposed to be in quarantine. So you're, again, my whole comment about a faith-based system.
Because when you're traveling from state to state, you're supposed to quarantine for 10 to 14 days.
Right. But again,
They could just be like, oh, no.
exactly.
Yeah.
My point. They said they do temperature checks and they record the name and number. Okay, fine. That you're logging your contact tracing. My favorite part about the video, though, is when you first logged into the article, the person that was the customer handing her ID over had her mask right here. And the bartender in the background with a customer, she's sitting at the bar, and he's leaning in talking to her, and his mask stops right here. People, stop putting shit on social media.
If you're going to do it wrong, do it wrong.
Yes.
Don't document it.
God. I mean, yeah, whatever. So that was in New York.
So what are they doing with the log?
I don't think they actually.
Nothing.
Well, yeah.
So the business owns the log.
Correct.
Is the health department coming to collect the information?
They don't say. Basically, they say they're only required to keep the log for a month after they've basically taken the log. But a month from when? You know, they go a month day to day, or do they just do the month of June and then they get rid of it after the month?
I would assume it would be day to day, because if you log somebody on June 30th, you know, are you going to just be like, okay, well, it was within that month, but not within a 30-day period, so we can still get rid of it. Like, that makes no sense. It had to be day to day.
You would think, but again, like...
A lot of this stuff is common sense, and we've come to find out that a lot of people don't have common sense.
No, they don't. But it's like we talked about yesterday. I don't feel the health department's not as heavily involved as they should be. Or whoever that governing body person, whatever it is. I mean, I even saw...
I feel like it falls on the health department. However, we know that it's not the health department, like governors and mayors and judges that are making these rulings aren't necessarily taking into consideration what the health department has to say.
True.
Because if they were doing that, schools wouldn't be open.
True. Yeah, very true.
So
they didn't specifically say what they did with their logs, because it doesn't sound like they're talking specifically about customers, so they're not necessarily, basically they indicated that collecting, are you gonna let me finish? Then you can ask your question. Okay, so then collecting the information of every single person that comes in and out of the establishment is not practical.
Okay, so that was going to be my question. Are they collecting for every single person, or just the ones that they see that are from out of state?
Well, hello, discrimination. anyone can feel discriminated against.
Yeah, but I mean, they can like pretend like, oh yeah, we're gonna take this in-state person's information, but their log is only that of people out of state.
It didn't say. And what I'm gathering is
You didn't reach out to them?
No, of course not. No, that's your job. I don't do the communicating. I don't like people. I just read the stupid shit they say and then I talk about it. But it sounds like the log they have is for their employees only. They're doing probably, I would hope what you're mentioning is if they are technically from a quarantine state, that they're logging that they've been to their establishment. Now, they did say that they don't contact customers individually, that they do a community-wide notification or alert, as they say, if somebody from their establishment ends up testing positive.
Okay, so if you have a person that comes in from out of state that goes to your establishment that ends up testing positive, that person may no longer be in the community.
Correct.
So now then all of the other people that they've come in contact with on their travels, like, how are you notifying them?
Now you're getting why I want to talk about this. How did they figure this out? Because if you're not doing it from the beginning that reopened and you decided to reopened, rude, that you decided to start logging these things, you had to do it from the beginning all the time. You can't bend on it. You can't stop just because we're going from 50 to 75%. Sitting outside versus inside, like you have to log everyone.
Which has me fall back on, we talked about it several episodes ago, somewhere, about like using an app to log your own.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been here. Yeah, we'd log a bunch on social media and things like that, but a COVID contact tracing specific app, which is a huge violation of privacy, according to some people. Other countries, we've mentioned, have done it and are doing it to contact trace. But, you know, Americans' rights, not happening. I mean, even if it's just an app that you, like, put your cell phone number in, you know, or an email address. Like, it doesn't have to be like, oh, your social security number and your bank account information. Like, we're not asking for all that kind of information.
No, but I'm sure someone who's smart enough to figure out how to use and navigate the web can do that, Miss Investigator of
Sure,
Facebook.
I mean, yeah, whatever. But you could log to say, okay, these are the places that I've been. And then you turn your little Bluetooth on your phone, and if you've been in contact with people or within a certain distance of somebody, then it logs it. Like, you've now been in contact with, you know, number 865 million, whatever that person's specific number is. So then if that person ends up testing positive, then that app alerts you and say, hey, on this day you were within so many feet of this person and they've tested positive.
Do these apps cost anything?
I don't know.
I feel like there's a few that do, which is part of the reason why they didn't do it. Because you're going to force people to use their money to pay for it to have an app on their phone.
I mean, why don't they just have like a government issued, like, here you go, here's your free app. It's not like, you know, like when the president sends out his little mass texts.
Oh, God.
You know, like, it's already a thing on your phone. You're going to get it regardless.
Well, yeah, it's like having instead
Or
of an
like the
actual
Amber
phone.
Alert or the Silver Alerts, like,
Silver? What's that?
for old people missing.
Oh, that's sad. I didn't know about that. Where have I been? I've never gotten one of those.
Oh. There's all kinds. There's a whole code. Anyways, stay focused. It could be something that automatically comes as an update on your phone. Like, hey, we need you to put in your information. Or here's your number. Yes,
Yeah.
anybody. Even if it's an email address or a phone number, yes, people are going to be able to figure out who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you create a fake social media account, I mean, there's still going to be somebody out there that can, like, trace an IP address and be like, oh, look, it's this person.
But again, it goes back to you're still trusting that the person is going to participate like they're supposed to. Even if you require it to be on the phone, what are you going to do on the back end? Is the government hack into their phone and turn it on? I'm just saying.
Really? Are we going to do conspiracy theories now?
Not conspiracy theory. I'm just saying you can't. People are not going to follow unless there's no.
Listen, the Patriot Act already says the government can do that, so I don't know why people are so up in arms about it. The government can basically do whatever. Is this really what we're going to get into right now?
No, I'm just saying
because
people...
yes, if it was for the safety of the country, the government could do that, and there
Sure.
ain't nothing you can do about it.
Well,
like,
but I'm just saying there's always going to be people that are going to not want to participate and partake
correct.
and do their
And
part.
there will always be somebody out there that will abuse it.
Yes, but I think the point, okay, not I think. Well, okay, I think the point behind some of this is there's nobody governing it. There's nobody enforcing it. There's no one policing it. There's no one requiring it. I mean, even in New York trying to do it, and they've been doing it, there's even people who have posted on Twitter that it's like, oh, my roommate had to go do this at a restaurant. She feels very violated. But there's nobody...
Then don't go to the restaurant.
Well, yeah, but what is the restaurant doing about it? I mean, even this one. So here in Houston, Texas, businesses are only required to keep the logs for 1 month to maintain the privacy of customers, according to the order. Also, logs are property of the business that created them, not the city, and can only be used for officials as they are needed for contact tracing. The logs cannot be used for law enforcement purposes. Okay, so let's say that establishment decides, well, they missed a day, they didn't do it, or their hostess didn't log things like they're supposed to. I mean, there's holes in a lot of this. That's what I'm saying. If we don't do all or nothing.
Information shouldn't be owned by the business.
Sure, agreed with that.
It should be the health department.
Yeah. I feel like it should be reported somehow electronically every day.
Yeah.
Let the health department log it.
If it was tax related, it'd be like all kinds of logs on it.
Yeah. Yeah. But, all right, so tell me this fun one that you found out of Oregon.
Out of Oregon. Good old...
Well, I liked it because it came from, what, the Food and Wine?
Yes. Food and Wine online article. COVID positive patients aren't always asked what restaurants they've been to. And I'm like, say what? When... Well, I mean, I feel like that would be, like, maybe not one of the number one questions, but apparently it's like an hour-long investigation. It should be one of the questions. Okay? Like, where have you sat or been in where we know you're not wearing a mask and you've been around other people that are also not wearing masks? Like, okay. So the quote is, the actual case investigation interview is quite lengthy. Ann Thomas, a senior health advisor at the Oregon Health Authority, told OPB, explaining that tracers and investigators are taxed on time. It's already an hour, so we can't ask every little thing that you and I think of or would like to know. We don't ask if you were in a bar or restaurant. What the fuck?
Yeah, why the fuck not? Those are like the main places people go to that don't wear a mask.
Or if you're in a bar and you've been drinking, really, what, are you going to take a tape measure and be like, you're 6 foot away from me? It's not happening. You're going to be in close contact with somebody, or you're going to make best friends with a drunk girl in the bathroom, and, you know, like, you're going to be in pretty close proximity to somebody. So the fact that it's not even required...
Apparently everybody in the United States are floozies.
I've made really good friends in bar bathrooms, okay? Decades ago.
Yeah.
So, not floozies. We don't shame women, okay? Like, that's not what we do here.
I wasn't shaming women. I just mean in general. Man whores, female whores, what do you want to call them? They're a little overly...
I feel like guys... We're getting off topic. I feel like guys don't make best friends in bar bathrooms. I could be wrong. Shut up. We're not going there.
Yeah, we're not.
Okay. So...
Woosah. You want to rub my ear?
The fact... Do it, really? You want me to touch you?
No, I said I'm going to rub my ear. Yeah, no touchy.
So the fact that it's not required...
I would love to know what other questions are in there then. You spent an hour talking to people.
That was going to be my other point, is like, is there a standard set of like federally mandated questions that every state has to ask, that every state has to log? Like, what's the process?
So
has anybody had this done for contact tracing? I want to know. I need y'all to comment, like, whatever.
Like it, but don't tell us.
Like it, and then if you like it, I'll call you out and be like, okay, did you have something to say? what's the process here? What is the process? Because if you're sitting in a restaurant, I ain't got a mask on, you ain't got a mask on, a kid doesn't have a mask on, and then the table, which is apparently no longer, 6 foot socially distanced away from you because they've upped capacity limits, they're not wearing masks next door, next table over. What's the process here? I need to know.
We're going to have to find out, and we're going to have to link it, because I am curious, because I have a feeling it's probably not federal. I'm guaranteeing it's probably state. I only say that because every state has given their own authority on how they're going to be handling this.
Correct.
Because
but are there minimum guidelines?
I have no fucking idea.
Because I was looking at the Restaurant Law Center article on the whole linen situation, and every state, there, instead of it being like obviously exactly the same, I mean, there wasn't even a very close similarity in, say, what California is doing and what New York's doing and what Texas is doing and what Florida's doing, or any of the Midwestern states. It's all different.
Well, you got the two extremes and the not so extremes.
Well, I mean, okay. So Texas's sanitation explanation is like this big, right? Not very big. Several lines, right?
Of wash your hands, use hand
wash your
sanitizer,
hands.
and don't cough on people.
Disinfectants. And then California's was like half a page.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, and I don't know, maybe the person like typing it started to get tired. And so they were like, oh, we'll paraphrase. It's fine.
There's Dr. Pepper that just went everywhere. All right, so.
Anyway, so all the states are different, and I feel like I made my point already.
Well, I think I would want to know, like, what each state is doing, what those questions are. If it takes an hour and at no point anything about where you've been in the public, eat, restaurant, whatever, doesn't come up, that's a problem. Because it's where most people are gathering.
Well, that's the whole point of contact tracing, is
Yes.
you were trying to trace who you've been in contact with. Mm-hmm. And
It's flawed.
like everything else.
Well, and that's why I think that it's interesting to me that we are being asked as the event community, when we do events, to do our duty of care of logging all this, which of course in registration you pretty much already gather that information when someone
Sure.
registers for an event. But, you're asking us to do this, whether you're hosting your event at a hotel, a specific conference venue, an arena, whatever the case may be. But it's not a standard in normal communities. So, yes, you're trying to make sure that the people come to your event feel safe, but wouldn't you want the same feeling when you go anywhere else in public? Why just for events? I'm not saying events are the only place. I'm sure, like, airlines and things like that are probably doing things, but, we work in the event industry. The emphasis on it, I feel, you do your due diligence for an event. You can't control what they do on their downtime. You can't control what they do before they come, after they leave. Really, they're focusing on what's happening, how you're keeping them safe during the event. But how do you know that hotel, no matter what the policies that hotel has, if they don't have their own in-house contact tracing process, go ahead, Yana, it's fine.
It's we're all laughing.
We're all laughing? Oh, we
It
were?
was from all the laughing.
I don't see how you can be so strict with it, with events, if you have to trust the rest of what you're doing, everybody else, the other establishments, to do the same thing. It's flawed, 100% flawed. I think the focus on duty of care when it comes to contact tracing is kind of bullshit right now.
It is.
I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm not discouraging it, because I do think it's good, so, to note these things, but an hour-long's worth of conversation for interview. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Either you're all in or you're all out.
Yes.
Like we said this morning. Either you shut it down, create a system where you contact trace 100%, whether it's an app, whether it's put on the businesses individually to do it, somebody's got to be there to enforce it.
Right.
Or you say, hey, guys, we're all just going to wear masks and we're fine. Like, go about your day. It's all in or all out.
Yeah.
Because picking and choosing and saying, well, events can't do this, but restaurants can,
Yep.
or the country clubs can because it's a private business. Like anything, Renaissance.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Or-
you can't pick and choose.
No. Or
Either
this state's doing this,
it's all
or
or
this
nothing.
state's doing that. Like,
It's all or nothing.
yeah.
And all of the states should be on the same page because people travel.
Yeah.
But I mean, even here, you can go, a couple counties over, and there's no mask mandate.
Love it.
Like, so pick one. And I think, like, ironically, it's probably one of the highest counties for numbers.
Like, as far as positive cases?
Yeah.
No, they're actually not.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not Montgomery.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not Montgomery.
Okay.
No, the county is actually not. I mean, it's a smaller community, but they definitely don't.
Okay.
I mean, because the only place that people that are traveling stop at is the Buc-ee's, and Buc-ee's.
And we know Buc-ee's
Yeah.
is doing right.
Buc-ee's is like right up there with Chick-fil-A, to me, in their customer service. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean that would be the only place people would stop and travel in that town. So the whole,
I mean, Buc-ee's is kind of a destination point.
I just put a water park in the back, make it like in a resort.
I would probably stay there.
I mean, shit, they have everything there that you need. You have swimsuits and sunglasses
Okay,
and sunscreen.
refocus.
I know. I'm just saying, it could be.
Okay.
Buc-ee's is getting the resort business.
Best mascot ever for a water park.
Oh shit.
So amongst this research for contact tracing and events and what people aren't doing, came across the linen.
Oh yeah, the linen. Dun dun dun.
The linen. So we've had a lot of back and forth on, are we supposed to do this? Are we not supposed to do this? What does this entail? Like,
We're taking the safer approach, I feel like, as far as not using it,
yeah.
because it's easier to clean a plastic table, disinfect it, than it is to replace the linen every time, making sure that, people who've done all this all over it, you fold it up correctly and get rid of it. Don't
Yeah.
touch the chairs.
So the CDC actually doesn't have guidelines for events or gatherings when it comes to linen.
All right, so CDC has no real guidelines, except for not for events. They have them for what?
Medical facilities. So bed linens, pillowcases,
Okay, that makes sense.
gowns. They have some pretty strenuous guidelines on that aspect.
One would hope.
Right. But as far as for events or gatherings, I mean, you could probably take the medical and apply it, but there's no, like,
Here's what you should be doing. Don't do this type thing.
yeah,
So what does the WHO say?
the WHO.
The WHO.
The WHO. They recommend disposable tablecloths if you're going to use them. If you're going to reuse them, obviously they're plastic, so you can sanitize them, or you just toss them, right?
What disposable linen do you reuse and disinfect it? It doesn't turn into just mush because it's paper. Are you talking about ones that are lined by something?
What?
A normal, like if I went to some dollar store, I'm not going to name names because we don't brand, as you tell me. Well, if you buy a disposable linen, it's usually paper. If you put any disinfectant on it, it's going to disintegrate.
All right.
So why
well,
would
they
you-
have different levels.
That's what I was asking. I didn't know this.
like,
Are you talking about like old school, like back in the 70s when they used to have like their couches lined with like the plastic cover? Those are like the disposable that you can disinfect? No?
no,
Oh, okay.
no. So they sell really thin plastic disposable tablecloths that I don't know about you, but we definitely used for a lot of birthday parties growing up that were not paper.
Mine were
'cause
always at
paper-
McDonald's.
Paper tears. So you can get a really thin plastic one, or, you could take it a step up and do a plastic reusable tablecloth. That's like, you get from one of those big name chain everything sell stores, the Get in Place, as my cousin likes to call it. That's a plastic on the top, but then on the bottom it's lined with like a felt,
Oh,
like
yeah.
the vinyl
I
type.
used to use it on a patio table.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and those you can disinfect and reuse, right?
Yeah, my grandma did do that.
Yeah.
Now I'm following.
All right.
I'm up to speed
glad
now.
we're on the same page.
Yeah,
I
I had
should
to
have
have the-
sent pictures.
I had to have the visual in my head, yeah.
Brought one from the house.
Just had to think about the 80s for a minute.
Whatever.
Early 90s.
So they recommend using a disposable tablecloth. or one that can be disinfected. Fabric is harder to disinfect because it's porous.
Well, no shit.
Porous. So
we don't use them.
we don't use them.
No, we don't use them. No, because it makes more sense. Oh,
And
it's
even
pretty.
that, I mean, the guidelines on that are basically just follow the manufacturer guidelines for cleaning. But the trick is when you fold it up, which some of my catering peeps will know,
My peeps.
you take the ends and you fold it in, right? It also helps to keep like dirt and crumbs and trash from falling out.
Yep. I had to teach our staff here that.
And then you're not supposed to carry it against your body.
Yeah, so what about the rent-a people that come and help you? The temp labor.
Don't let them touch the tablecloths. Just don't do it. Because they'll just go,
Yep. And then
or
ship flies
throw it in
everywhere.
a pile on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, because you're supposed to, what, carry it a certain way, not touch anything, unfold it in a certain
Well,
way.
okay, you're supposed to wear gloves, first of all. Gloves. And then you fold it in from the ends, so you fold it into itself. Like this, with this motion.
From the elbows.
And then you carry it, but you don't carry it against your body.
Up here.
You,
Like that big giant platter with the plastic top on it. Oh, and you put it on one of those and then you take the lid off when you want to undo
You
it so
probably
nothing
could.
touches it?
you probably could.
That's why they
Just
did it.
pile in
Someone
the center
senior
of the room
level
and set
up.
it on fire and be done with it.
Someone senior level came up with that ingenious idea. We have these. We're going to use them for everything. So not only are we going to use it for past hors d'oeuvres, we're going to use it to carry our linens to the new tables. Yikes. I mean, you got to get some use out of the plexiglass, right? Or was it acrylic, maybe?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so don't use linens.
Just don't use them.
No, there's no guarantee.
Yes.
And you don't know, okay, let's say you had a breakfast buffet, and then you had a lunch buffet. Or if you're doing a plated lunch and you do a breakfast buffet, but you're using the same room for tables, are they swapping out those linens in between each one?
You're supposed to.
Well, you're
Common sense.
supposed to. And then are you assigning seats so that way the same person is sitting in that seat every time, or are you disinfecting in between? People don't talk about this shit. Every webinar I've been in, they don't talk
Okay,
about...
well, let me tell you, in China,
Oh, gosh.
they're disinfecting children and backpacks before they enter the school. So I imagine over there, they're probably doing something like that, or they're just not utilizing tablecloths.
Okay, so I will bring this up because I did think this was very cool. I think it was a Florida event, actually. Yay, I know, I'll talk positive for a minute. So the link I sent y'all the other day, where it looks like one of those photo booths at an arcade, you know, where you go and stick your dollar in and take 4 pictures and it shoots the thing out? Yeah, the little picture thing. Anyway, they have now disinfectant booths. So this one event, everybody had to go through that disinfectant booth, and basically like a spray tan, they get sprayed down.
Do you have to get naked?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just checking.
Well, it's the top of your clothes, right? Because the top of your clothes carry... What are you doing?
You said spray tan.
Did he unplug our audio? Because I don't want it to be muted right now.
I don't know what he did.
Making noise and fidgeting.
Is he
Remember when I
done?
told him
He's done
he-
with the
yeah.
recording. He's
Yeah.
like, we're done. I got shit to do.
Okay, so this booth, like I said, it's like a spray
The
tan.
booth?
They spray you down, but you keep your clothes on.
Okay.
So it's like you were saying in China, they're spraying the backpacks and topical.
Yeah,
'Cause,
well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
do you
it's
walk
the same
around
as,
with your
like,
shirt and you
we
touch people
just-
from the inside out? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, so why wouldn't
I mean,
you do?
some people touch people from the
She cannot participate from now on. She cannot.
Some people touch people from the inside out, Sarah, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking
I'm just
about
saying,
events.
yes, but it's like, why would
Oh
you?
my
Why would
God,
you do it?
why would you say things like that?
But why would you do it naked?
And not in people's face.
Why would you do it naked?
Because you take off your clothes and then you put them in like a separate bin and they get disinfected and then you get disinfected and then you put everything else on.
But again, my point, at what point during an event do you touch somebody naked? Why would you
I
take
don't know
your
what
clothes
kind
off?
of event you're going to.
my
I mean,
God.
there's some in Vegas. There could be.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, so anyway, no, it's like being a spray tan. You're not naked,
Look at all
but
the
it's just
editing
spray
you're
down.
going to be doing.
No, there's no editing in this. None. Okay.
This is why we shouldn't do a live event.
Well, for this one, hell no. The other one, sure. Yes, so anyway, they spray them down as they come in. It almost looks like a miniature car wash for a person because it's got the little... I can't. She cannot be here anymore.
just needs a quick escape.
No, she's perfect. I love it because it makes me laugh more. So anyway, but yes, they had this cool little booth. We'll send a picture, link
We'll
it.
link it.
Yeah, it was really cool. I liked the idea. It was fun. What would be more fun is if it actually was a sanitation booth and a photo booth at the same time. Take people's pictures as they're getting sanitized. I can't even talk. Oh my god, wouldn't that be funny? No. Okay, cool. So.
I mean, they
Contact
probably
tracing.
just took a photo booth and rigged it up with like little spray things on the
I'm
inside,
sure they did.
and they were
'cause
like,
they
"There you
come
go."
with it. They took the seat out though.
Well, yeah.
Well, but there's handicapped people. Why is it not ADA compliant?
Oh Lord.
Just saying.
Maybe they have one that's ADA compliant.
She didn't advertise that. I only saw one.
Oh. Well, maybe you should have emailed.
Good point. I'll do that. So anywho, that event occurred in August, by the way, in Florida somewhere. I'll have to look at it. But yeah, so that was recent this year, obviously, because I don't know when we would do. I don't know when we would do sanitizing other than now. So okay. So anyway, yeah. So contact tracing irritates me.
Linens irritate
Me.
her.
Yeah, it all irritates me. There's no consistency. None.
The inconsistency irritates me.
That's the biggest problem I have, is there's not been any consistency about this anywhere. You leave it up to the individual states.
It's consistently inconsistent.
There you go. Perfect. Perfectly said. Yeah. So, anyway, that was my grandiose idea.
Can I use your pen?
Sure. So, oh. Yeah.
Be the title.
Yeah, sure. So that was my, random thought.
Thought process.
My random
For
thought
a
I had
Saturday.
on the way to an 8-year-old soccer game.
That's why she makes the big bucks.
Oh, yeah. Maybe one day, the more shit talking we do, maybe we'll make more money.
It's highly unlikely.
I'm gonna need Heather to start talking soon. Is she gonna have a costume?
I thought about it, and then I was like, well, she's not going to be on her thing, so.
Well, maybe she just has a costume from now on that's not necessarily, Halloween related.
Okay, bye.